Welcome to the Holy Spirit's Curriculum of Joy podcast. My name is Wanaka Overhuber and I'm your host. My guest today is Roni Robbins. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. Appreciate the opportunity.
So I like to start with a question where you can take your time to answer it. So there's no big rush to get it done or anything like that. So how did you come to see the world the way you do today?
Wow, that's pretty open-ended. I think that I grew up with a Jewish culture, maybe you'd say Judeo-Christian culture. And so I guess those are the values that I was brought up with, the strong faith that I have in my religion and the value of and the strength of family and commitments that I make to people and in marriage. So I think that is how I judge most things. Being nice to others, whatever you put out there comes back and can either bite you or reward you. And just believing that there's a higher power sometimes when you don't think you can handle everything yourself. So hopefully that's what you were looking for.
There's no right or wrong answer to the question. And no. Some guests really talk for 45 minutes, and others, like you, are very quick. So, when you speak of a Judeo-Christian background, and that one of the very important characteristics for you is kindness, being nice, and keeping commitments and things like that. How did that inform your journey through your life?
Well, I should also back that up with the fact that I was also told to be an achiever, to do something productive in my life. So I think that also plays a role because my dad would say, don't be watching TV, or I think that the fact that we belong to a faith that continues to value education and spend a lot of time in educating and expanding our mind. I think that also, I should mention, plays a role. So that with my faith and this focus on family and strong values of giving back to the world and charity also comes into play, but also as individuals, what are you going to add to society? Why are you here? And in terms of, for me, I always saw that as, what are you doing lately? What's your next step? How much can you pack into the day so that it's fulfilled, so that your career is fulfilled? I chose journalism. I chose more recently becoming an author. What am I doing to push those paths along? What am I going to leave behind when I'm gone? What have those that paved the way for me left behind to me to start that ball rolling and to set up that standard for productivity and creativity and repairing the world in my own way by educating and inspiring and entertaining. So I hope that I keep all those things in mind as I'm just trying to spin my wheels and move through the day and accomplish something that I can be proud of with my journalism and with my novel that I wrote loosely based on family. So what I do tends to circle back to family, because really that's what's important in life. Family, health, all those subjects are in my award-winning novel, and all of them hopefully will be in my next novel, loosely based on a family member. So, and as far as my journalism, that's what keeps the ball rolling for me in terms of having some independence and financial background, so that I can be my own person, not depend on others, and work on things that I enjoy working on, which would be the novel writing that may, in fact, not be as lucrative, but fulfills me.
So it sounds like you have very precise goals when you talk about journalism, but also in your novels. Would you like to share what your message is, or how you are going about that?
So my message with the novel is that no obstacles should get in your way of achieving your dreams. Um, so that is financial, health, whatever it is that your dream is. For me, my dream was always to be an award-winning journalist, or to be recognized for the God-given talents that I was given, which is my writing. So whether I do that in an article form, in a shorter form, or a larger form, which is the more recent goal that I took a long time to accomplish it, but since the book came out in the past couple of years, the next step is marketing it. And maybe when I retire, or when things calm down a little bit with my daily and weekly, my daily and consistent journalism online, I have some articles that are due more recently. They're usually due within the next 2 weeks. So then, I've got a lot going on at one time. So I'm putting myself out there in various forms, but always delivering something that was my talent to deliver. That was given to me as a blessing, that I am a good writer, and I want to be appreciated for that. Of course, I have a family too, so I've got to make time for them. So how do you do that? It is very challenging. So the weekends, I'd say after hours, but sometimes I don't have as much of that. I've got children that are on their own, off on their own now for the most part. So this is what I do most of the time. My husband also works very hard. So we're okay with appreciating the small treasures of time that we have together on the weekend, or after hours somewhat. So I think it's very busy right now because of the holidays season, with Christmas and Hanukkah coming up. But typically, I understand I need to make time for health, which I do, and also for my family, in the midst of trying to accomplish something that is bigger than myself, a legacy of some sort. So in terms of my message, that's my message. Don't let obstacles get in the way, whatever they are. My grandfather, who is the subject of my novel, he didn't let tuberculosis, which he was told he was terminal at 26, and he lived till 86. He didn't let that get in the way. He took a chance with a experimental treatment that saved his life and others. And it paved the way for treatments today. He saved people in a workplace shooting spree, but he had his challenges. Obviously, he had healthcare challenges. He had financial challenges. My grandmother had to be the breadwinner at a time when women weren't breadwinners, to be able to take care of their 5 children. So no complaining about my 2. No complaining about the fact that, I might have this ailment or that ailment. They're pretty minor compared to an illness like tuberculosis, which is still in the news today and is the largest infectious disease killer in the world. And so we don't have any problems. So my novel specifically, instead of just short-term information that I might produce with an article, my novel is more long-term, spans a larger lifetime of a person who can show the world that you shouldn't let things hold you back. And I try to live by that philosophy, although it gets overwhelming at times. So that's probably a good summary. And I might have gotten off track with that.
Yeah, so there's a lot in there. The drive to strive on no matter what happens, to overcome obstacles, and to choose. And choice is a big thing. In A Course in Miracles as well, choice is a huge issue. They even have, so there's a whole lot about choosing. You need to choose what your day is going to be like, for instance, or things like that. And learning to do that is a powerful tool. So how did you learn to be able to choose rather than be driven by what we might think is coming from outside or influences and so on, but to choose what you're going to do next or what you're going to strive for? And what were the criteria for that?
I wish I was better at it. I pretty much say yes to a lot and then get overwhelmed and figure out how to make it happen. The criteria are, when you have a family commitment, family comes first. When you have a health challenge, everything's going to have to be put aside for that. I make time. I don't think I see it as a choice. I see it as, okay, let's go back. Let's wind that back. My priority is a standing commitment to attend services for my faith on Saturday morning. I am the lead usher of my synagogue. That is a job that involves letting people indoors, not necessarily finding them the seats, but saying when there's the right opportunity, when it won't offend anyone, when it doesn't interfere with the studies, the prayers that are going on inside, but it retains the sanctity of the service in such a way that lets people in, but also lets people who are already in pray to themselves without disruption, or get something out of the service that they are in there for. So I make a commitment to go to services and fulfill that need. I see it as a need every Saturday. I am honoring my dad for a full year of commitment to pray for him, to mourn for him every day in a real tangible way, showing up at the service that's available for mourners, wherever that may be, every day. And if I try and it's not available, go online and do it. So that's a 1-year commitment. Every Sunday, I work out for 3 hours on the spin bike because I'm considered a weekend warrior. I get the majority of my workout, which I think helps maintain my health and frees my mind for a couple of hours of anything else, hopefully. Some slips in, but really I've carved out that time for myself, and I need to get that. So that's like a check mark. Yes, I did that for the week, and that sets me up for the week. So I do that every Sunday, and it's a little much, but that's my commitment to myself for my health. If I have to do something for my health, those things need to be scheduled and not overlooked. If I have If something is wrong with me, I need to get it checked out. I need to figure out how to make my day so that I can do that. Now, my kids are not at home, so I have that freedom, and so these are the things that have to take priority. Everything must drop if something should happen in an emergency. It just has to. Too bad. But otherwise, I'm trying to balance things out. And it is hard to say no. It's hard to ask for a little bit of extra time when needed. You want to do it all. My generation of women was told you could have it all. Yeah. I mean, some can, but how can you? Can you be great at your job and great at being a mom? I'm not sure you can. And at a certain point, I decided that I would stay home with my children because I didn't think that they were being raised properly by the daycare. They weren't being educated. They were the messages I got back was that this is somebody who is not well educated, and I thought the commitment should be from me. I may have needed to try for a while to make it work, but I realized my children were being shortchanged. So I stayed home and I made it work so that I could take care of them. I wrote this novel during the time, and I freelanced for some major publications. So I was very rewarded by being able to still achieve the dream while providing the best care that a mother can give. They may argue differently, but I was there for them when they were growing up, when their development was changing so much, to make sure that they got what they needed out of life so that they would have a good path beyond me. So I'm hoping that that benefits them so that they can be on their own and they can achieve success on their own terms. Unfortunately, I'm not always around for them exactly when they would like me to be, as I might have been before, because I'm focusing on me now more. So all of that has to be factored into your life and who you are and what you want to leave to the world, whether it's just being a mom and being there for your children, or is it okay that you also have a career you're trying to work on as they're working on theirs? I don't know the answer. I wish there was better direction for this. I wish we could get bopped on the head and God would tell us right away, if you believe in God, what the path is. What am I supposed to do? Because there's all these messages about you can do it all and you should be able to do it all and figure it out.
So now that you've written a book, how did you achieve that? Did you have times for that, or what methodology did you use to get your book done? Because that's a big commitment too.
Yes, and I'm not the best person to tell you about that because I worked on it while I was raising my children and also freelancing and building my career. So it took a long time, and I was afraid of putting it out there. Putting yourself out there is something that people fear, and I totally can relate to that. It's hard to find the time. I love that some people do. I think retirement is a great time. I worked when my children were napping. Let's just say that. I committed that I would work while my children were napping. It took me some 7 years to have my book in such a way that I felt like I could enter it into a contest. And it took me 2 more years to win, to be a quarterfinalist in the Amazon Breakthrough Novel Award contest, historical fiction. So after that, I felt like I gained more confidence along the way that I had something of worth, because I got a lot of rejections, and you get a lot of rejections in life. This book was one thing. It took me from start to finish till I got a publisher. 20 years. But again, I was building my career and raising my children. So there were three things going on at once. So is it okay to take that much time if you're not maybe as efficient as you should be to focus? Is it okay? Sure, it's okay. I got a book out there and I raised two children. I hope to success. And I stayed in my career. Why? Because I kept my hand in my career as I was building those other two things. So in retrospect, maybe it worked out for a reason. Now, I lost my first publisher after working with her for 2 years. She set me up for success so that 6 months later, after I lost her over a legal battle, that I would gain another one who took me to the finish line and is much more communicative than the first one. So I lost my job about a year ago. Now I'm freelancing for them. They're thinking about interviewing me to come back, and I'm freelancing for another publication. So I can't keep up, but think about the alternative. A year ago, more than a year ago, I got socked in the, as we say, kishkas, which is in my book, which is socked in the stomach, or whatever kishkas are, but socked in the stomach by our inner parts. I will say, I'll try to define Yiddish that way. And it takes a lot to come back from that. It takes a lot to come back from rejection. So what's going to propel you on? I think God has a plan for me. Sometimes I wish he would bop me on the head and tell me, because I have a hard time figuring it out. So it takes me longer. And I'm not sure I've floundered as far as failed. I think I'm still moving in the right direction. I love that I'm in so much demand after I was socked in the kishkas. I like that I didn't have to lose my career just because you told that too. You're a full-time mom, which I never was a real full-time mom. And I never was a full-time housekeeper either. People were like, oh, your house is probably immaculate. No way. But you have to choose what your priorities are. And for me, I made small commitments to raising my children, and I really did have a lot of time with them, as I have time now to also fit in my workouts, and hopefully not doing too badly with spending time with family when there are opportunities. So I don't know if we can have it all, but I'm certainly trying.
And you also have to get into the public speaking domain since you're on a podcast. That's a pretty interesting choice too. I mean, it's not like just because you can write, you can speak, or the other way around. Just because you can speak, you can write well. Sometimes it works that way, but it doesn't always. So you have many things going on. So you also have to find time for that.
I will tell you that I didn't think I could do the public speaking, and so it evolved. I didn't go into broadcast journalism because I didn't think I could do that, and I had a lot of fear of even being in a big public assembly and having to say, I got a question, so for sources as a reporter. So I really have come a long way, and my confidence has built over the years, as I in my journalism, as my journalism evolved. And like I said, I had a lot of cold feet about putting this book out there because I had not been an author. I'd only been, yes, I was a published writer, and my articles have been picked up by Forbes and Huffington Post and New York Daily News and WebMD. Gotcha. Yeah, they like me for short periods of time. But putting yourself out there for page after page and hoping people will flip pages and read the whole book. And I wanted to have a professional publisher. I wanted to know that it was good enough, that it was good, not even good enough, that somebody of authority had ruled it something that they wanted to take on among their other authors that had reached that level, that had gone through the slush pile, that they decided to move forward with it. Not once, but twice I found a publisher. So you'd think that I would have a little bit more confidence. But as far as, I always like flushed, and if I got in front of people, I would be nervous. And like even at my bat mitzvah, I cried, and people were like, "Oh, that's so sweet." And I was like, I was nervous. That was the emotion that came out, the stress. So I really have come a long way. And I think when I first started speaking about my book in public, I just psyched myself up and said, this is your time. You did this. This is the dream. So just tough it up and get up there and tell people about something that you worked really hard on. This is your chance. So I'm like close to tears here, but or as we say, verklempt. But I really have come a long way, and it's by necessity in terms of speaking in public, and my confidence level may have improved over the years too, as I felt stronger about my career. But also, I used to be very overweight, and I lost weight, and I've maintained my weight for many, many years now, and have lost more recently. But I would say my confidence was built by that too, because I think whatever it is, the obstacle that holds you back, that was maybe part of it. So I felt confident about my appearance, and although aging is not helping any of that, but I also felt confident in my career. So I do feel confident, and this is my time. This is the dream of an author, of speaking about the fulfillment of creating a novel, despite how long it took. The feedback on it is positive. I've won 6 awards. You'd think that would give me a major confidence boost each time. But again, at that time, 50 rejections, and I thought even more until I counted them. It's hard to keep yourself going with people telling you, you're not worthy. You're not worthy of me being your publisher. You're not worthy of me being your agent, until you get a yes. And that really is all it takes, a yes. And like I said, things will throw wrenches in your plan, and it's how you respond to it. So I just am like, try to move past the negative real as quickly as I can, and find a way back to what's next. And this is what's next. This is what's next for me. This is what I love to do, and I feel most fulfilled about talking about my novel, because it's been rewarding to hear what people say about it, to the readers, and also to win the awards, and to be in some public forums with major authors such as Nikki Haley and John Meacham and Andrew Young. And I was in a book festival several years ago, and those names were leading sessions. And then there's me with my session, and I made it to that level. And also my book is in the Holocaust Museum in Washington, D.C., and it was written about in the Washington Post. So, and a number of other places, Washington Jewish Week. This is because of my connections, and this is because the book is really good. And I think I must be a really good writer, that the same place that downsized me is asking me to write for them, and others are asking me to write for them, and I can't even keep up. So history reverses itself really quickly, and right now I'm in a good spot. And the last thing that I should lack is confidence. The only thing I should lack is how to get it all done. So hopefully God is there helping me. That's all. And I use my days as wisely as I can.
Yeah, that's a very important part of it. The trust that there's a reason, right, for doing it, and also the connection to the Jewish history and how all of this plays together in the Holocaust as well is a very, very important one. In an interview where I was interviewed, I spoke about my family history, so there's a lot of things that went on there too. And anyways, it's so important that we go out there and share, because how else is understanding supposed to develop, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And the history that many of us have experienced too, whether you're Jewish or another ethnic community that has been persecuted over the years, with what's going on in Israel, history repeating itself, history through my novel repeating itself, with wars still raging, with healthcare challenges still raging, with immigration issues still raging. I think these history is repeating itself. And what have we learned? We learned that we are really resilient. Jews as a culture, we're socked in the stomach a number of times. How do you get yourself back up? Because there really is no alternative. And in my novel, my grandfather still had a positive perspective. Some days he described it as a cupcake, and some days the icing lands on the floor and that's the end of the cupcake. But sometimes it doesn't, and it's in a wrapper, and you can still eat it if you believe in the 2-second rule. So there are days that are going to be bad, and the chocolate's going to be chocolate side down. And there are days that it's going to be chocolate side up. And, it's holding on to those days that there's more days, hopefully, that are chocolate side up. But to roll with the punches, because there really is no alternative. You've got to keep chugging towards the positive. Chugging towards your goals. And for him, the goals were just to achieve somewhat of an American dream for his family, and that is with values of faith and family and religion. Well, faith is religion, but practices and culture, and then so it was the simple pleasures that he enjoyed. And I think we all do. The most valuable times you have are with your family. So, sorry, losing it a little bit. But and sorry, because it's also because of stress, but I'm trying to keep all that in mind. So, yes, we've been through a lot. We've been through the ringer, and we're still trying to achieve that equality that we're supposed to have as people who are different, whoever is different. And the Holocaust was huge, but we emerged. I think most Jewish holidays will tell you this story of they tried to kill us. We made it out, and let's eat. So I think that's pretty much the standard, or the joke is about how many times somebody came in and said, "You're not worthy. We're better than you, and take that." And we emerged victorious. Maybe not from the Holocaust, but we found a way to value the people that helped us, and the fact that as a religion we survived. Lot of bad things happened. I wish I could say that. I wish anyone could say that we learned our lessons. Unfortunately, we haven't, because it still exists in the world, and it's really bad right now. But I know some people who are just, it's preventing them from moving on, that that a new president is preventing them from moving on. They can't move forward. They might need to move someplace else. What is our alternative? What is ever our alternative? Sometimes things are going to go our way and sometimes they're not. I don't mean to get into political anything. I'm just saying that whatever it is that's holding you back, you've got two alternatives. Stop in your steps and don't and let it debilitate you. Let it stop you. I'm repeating myself, but what are your alternatives? Your alternatives are my mom's philosophy. My mom got COVID and poison ivy at the same time. Then she got bit in the face, and now she's in Asheville, North Carolina, and they lacked water. And they didn't have water, for a long time, and they used bottled water. And I forget what else happened, but one or two of those things at one. I had them in a different. I had some of that. I had poison ivy, and then I had COVID, and I was complaining about woes me, or not exactly like in comparison to others, but just like, oh my gosh, this is hard. And what her philosophy was about the whole thing was, and now she has a rash, and her whole philosophy about it is laughter. She just laughs it off, and then she giggles. She's fun, and she giggles, and then she goes, "What am I supposed to do? What is this is it? I'll be fine." Because she knows, and that she has that within her, because she has the same spirit of my grandfather, and maybe I do too. Although I do complain about a lot, and then I think about them and feel guilty about complaining about anything and everyone else you can compare yourself to. You should have such problems, as they would say in Jewish circles. You have such blessings. Why aren't you seeing those? But her philosophy is the same as her dad was. What are you going to do about it? You just got to move forward. So that's what she does, and hopefully somehow or another I can remember all of that for myself, and so can the rest of us.
A fun thing from A Course in Miracles is it says the world will end in laughter. In this, not in the sense that the world as we know it, in the sense of the way we judge it, will end in laughter. So you actually, it's a lot about forgiveness as well, forgiving what actually didn't happen, because we have all these judgments that make things be something that they are not.
Right.
And so letting go of that, and so laughter, according to A Course in Miracles, is the way the world will end, because it started through the idea of separation and so the forgetting to laugh. So this idea of separation, this unhappiness, started through forgetting to laugh, according to A Course in Miracles. So I think that's very nice to hear that your mom chooses to laugh in the face of all of that.
I don't, she's just a giggly type person. Everyone's blessed with something else. I'm a pretty serious person. So my son has it too. It's an amazing personality trait. It's an amazing confidence, I don't know. Just she's able to relax a little bit more, I think, and she's 81 years old. So we're going to be 81 years old. So whatever it is that she inherited and my son inherited, to give them that positive perspective. That generation, too, I will say, maybe the past two generations didn't let things bother them, and they didn't want to show it to us either. They kept everything quiet. So I didn't really know that. I knew my mom had COVID, but I didn't realize she also had poison ivy at the same time. That's a lot. and then get bit in the face, and then whatever, and things keep throwing at you. And I'm finding that too, in my own small way. It seems when it rains, it pours, I don't know what that's all about. And there's a lot going on in the world right now. Maybe we had it easy for a while, or we forgot. So this is our reminder. Maybe COVID was our reminder. So I don't know. And sometimes I just go into the small sanctuary at my synagogue and I talk to God. I think it's important. Miracles. Okay. I do believe that I've had miracles in my life. Every single thing that's happened to me is a miracle, in terms of, how you met your husband, how my book was finally published. It just wasn't published when I wanted it to be published, but it was published. So I think you have to be patient. But I do try to I always tell my children to find your place where you feel most spiritual. For me, that always was at the ocean. I find it in, it's when you're quiet, I think, and you can just listen and talk to yourself, and somehow it works its way out. So I find that in the mountains, you can do that. I think it's just really finding your way to block out all the noise and focus on you and God and yourself and your mind. And hopefully a good message will come through. And hopefully I ask for things. I know you're not supposed to do that, but it doesn't matter if I do, because you're not going to get what you want when you want it. But in my opinion, but and I don't know, my sister would say I'm making it happen. I am taking control and making it happen. And I get that too. I don't think you can win the lottery unless you buy a lottery ticket. I get that. But I think that we're guided in some way, and I do believe in miracles, and but you got to find your own miracles. You got to notice the miracles they're there. They're there, and sometimes it's as beautiful as whatever you're experiencing when you're in your place of worship, whatever it is that you feel like, wow, that must have been just for me, because you're noticing. Whatever it is you're noticing, whatever it is, this special, the miracles of somebody showing up and taking you to the next level of kismet, irony, we say bashert, destiny, what's meant to be. That's a miracle. Yes, having a child is a miracle. Got it. I do believe that too. Those are easier to see. What's not easy to see are the hidden messages that you find in your life, or how it all works out, looking back now, how it all worked out. There was a plan all along. I just didn't know what it was at the time. And I'm still waiting. It's better if we know what the plan is at the time. I don't think we can ever know that because somebody else is pulling the strings.
Yeah, the question you were also placing before was the idea of inequality or not being equal, right? And in A Course in Miracles, it always speaks, there's this issue of specialness versus equality. If you think you're special, that's going to lead you to thinking you're better or more, or someone else is less than, or whatever, right? There's all these comparisons. But if you see yourself as equal, you can actually value each other fully as whole. And so it's all about seeing each other as whole. And that's a big issue, because we tend not to see ourselves as whole, and accordingly we don't see each other as whole. And so learning to do that is a huge lesson. And I think books like the one you wrote about how one overcomes all these issues, your grandfather did, right? Probably the main issues were things that he did move through. and then the rest was built around it to explain it. And I think that's a very powerful message to say we're equal. We are strong enough. We are capable enough. We are up to it. We can surmount things, or we can recognize each other rather than choosing to compare each other in negative ways, in ways that we can't support each other. So it sounds like that's part of your message, is to see the value in being here.
Correct. And also, I do believe what you're saying about you shouldn't feel like you're special, but I think you can also just keep it in check. Okay. You're not better than, you're just the best that you are. And, so I'm not better than anyone else, in so many ways. But I'm the best of me. So, I'm, it's not about, I'm very competitive. So yes, I do compare myself to others, but I think it's a way to propel myself forward. As far as that somebody is less than me, no, because I'm not perfect. So maybe it's because I am from a persecuted faith that I, I think I have to be reminded sometimes that somebody's a different color or different, from a different culture than I am. So obviously I see it, but it doesn't separate them from me. It's just they're them, and this is me. They have their background that I would like to understand more. And I hope that they enlighten me. But I am not better in any which way than them. But that's me. Why are there haters? Why aren't there more people who love each other? I'm not sure how much religion plays into that. I don't know that you can be somebody who's observant in your religion and hate people. I mean, I guess it exists. But it's just something that doesn't exist in the world that I'm in. I don't see it. But I know it's out there, and obviously I see it around me, and I just don't understand it. It's a different type of person. I don't know where it comes from. You don't have to be less for me to be more. I'm probably less because you're more. So is that okay? But it's not because I devalue myself. It's just that I'm trying to achieve something. So I don't know if I just backed myself into that, but I think that that we have to love each other, because I just don't think God is happy if we're and I don't think that this was what was intended ever, was that people hate each other. I don't know why we have to go through all of the hatred to find the love. I hope there are more people that love than hate. That's what I hope there are more good people than bad people. I hope eventually the bad people, get judged in some way, because we're all going to get judged. And I I have things that I'm not proud of. That, I'm trying to be better than be bad. I've made mistakes and I've done bad things, but I hope I get judged on the positive side of things when it comes down to it. And I hope I leave a lasting legacy that's worthwhile and positive, versus anything negative, because you're going to have to live with whatever you put out there.
In A Course in Miracles, it speaks differently about this last judgment. It says that it will be shown to us that we are sinless, that we are holy. So the judgment is that the judgment that God gives you is that you're sinless and holy, according to A Course in Miracles, which is a turnaround. It's not about are you evil or good, but to see who you actually are, to remember who you are in God's eyes. And you were you were also saying God certainly didn't intend for us to be unhappy, right? So happiness is one of God's will. That's God's will for us, for instance. You could say, if you want to put that into other words. So that's a beautiful thing to perceive that could be the will. And of course, that's what we want as well, right? But we think we can achieve it through means that make us unhappy often. And then that's where the whole thing is to let go of that judgment that leads to us thinking that you have to do this, you have to do that, you have to judge, you have to attack, you have to do this. If you want to get something, you have to take it away from somewhere, from someone, things like that. And that's why A Course in Miracles says, if you want to have, you need to give it, right? What you give, you have. And if you think of our thoughts or our love or expression of interest or whatever, those are things that don't diminish because we give them. They actually become more. And you can keep it because of that. Because if you forget to express it, you may not be able to realize that you actually have it.
Exactly. Yes. I do believe in that also. And I do think that there's some kind of meaning we're supposed to gather from the incidents that happen that are not so positive, because why else are they happening? So like I said, we don't know what the plan is. Somebody else is the puppeteer, is pulling the strings. But I'm like my book, my book is Hands of Gold, One Man's Quest to Find the Silver Lining in Misfortune. It's to find whatever the secret meaning is behind the misfortune. If there is misfortune, hopefully you don't have misfortune, and misfortune is just not money. It's whatever hand is dealt to you. So like I said, you can let it stop you and give up, but you're going to have a very boring life. But I can't talk about like mental illness and other, health. It's easy for me to talk about, that don't let it stop you, but yet I'm healthy, I'm blessed, I have skills, I'm in demand. I can't see what the others are struggling with. I can only focus on me, and give charity and hope that things work it out for others. And try in my small ways. I can't solve all the world's problems, but I can try to help those that I love, and also try to be open-minded to the struggles of that others have that I don't have, so I can count my blessings. But in the day-to-day world, I'm just trying. We're pretty much focused on ourselves, and making it through the day for our own selves. And it forces me to be unselfish, at times. So I try to work it in where I can. Like I said, I've got demons to bear, and I'm trying to be more positive, I actually am known as the funny one in my group, so every once in a while when I see an opportunity, it's timing. I try to bring laughter, and it's unexpected, and maybe it's my son has this ability because he has some challenges in terms of just saying what's on his mind. And so I put it out there. Sometimes it'll work, and most of the time it's humorous. Sometimes I have to backpedal and say, oh, maybe I shouldn't have said that, but and apologize. And most of the time it's forgiven. But And that's a big problem in the world too. But for the most part, I'm trying to bring laughter, and in my own little way when it's appropriate, because there's no other alternative. You can either laugh at it or just dwell in your misery, or And even on my birthday, recently, I decided that I would make a meal for a friend that was had come out of surgery. Why? Even though it's my day, because I wanted to make that my year starts out with thinking about somebody else instead of myself all the time, which is my usual MO. My own people, my own problems. But if you can force yourself when you can to do something for somebody else and make them happy, I think that it's important to do that. And maybe somehow or another it will come back to you. And the laughter part too. When there's an opportunity to make somebody laugh, try to do it, because the alternative is miserable.
Yeah, it's a deep journey, and we also have our struggles, including I also have my struggles and question a lot. And so it's a big deal to admit that I'm struggling, and then to choose to move on or to get help or whatever modes of operation you find that are helpful.
Exactly.
Yeah, because there's many ways. One is laughter, of course, like you said.
Well, it releases the tension sometimes. Like I said, tears work too, but wouldn't you rather laugh at yourself than, or laugh at everything, or figure out a way to make people laugh? Um, you know, it's timing. You have to, know the proper time to. But I'm known as the funny one. So I mean, basically, they're like, "How are you funny?" Well, because I'm laughing at real life. This is real life. I'm laughing at myself. I'm laughing at funny things that you can say when nobody expects you to say them, and nobody else is saying them. So just, out of left field, I think you can make people laugh, and I'd rather be known as that, because otherwise I'm way too serious. And it's way too heavy how much, I push myself too.
Yeah, that can be an issue when you push yourself so much that you expect it of others that don't see it that way. Yeah, I can imagine.
Some people actually like to relax, which I don't take much time for that. Some people, you know what? A good night's sleep is so valuable. Like you said, I make time for the things that calm me, and I'm blessed with good health. But I just keep chugging along. But I don't have a huge amount of downtime. My weekends, when I'm not at my synagogue, or giving priority to my health and my faith, I don't have a lot of downtime. I'm spending a lot of time traveling or shopping, or which I don't really like shopping. It's just a task to get done. But in my book, so I'm very type A, but other people are not, and that's okay. And sometimes I wish I was more laid back and had more time for vacations. And so everyone lives their life the way they want to, and I want to be known for production. I think I might have been cursed with that feeling, or maybe my religion, or maybe just me. Just very type A to the max, and hopefully it'll keep working for me.
Yeah. So it's time to wrap up. Is there anything I didn't ask you that you would like to share about?
Well, I'd like people to consider getting my book, and I don't try to say buy it. I try to say put more hands of gold in golden hands. that maybe it'll inspire you, enlighten, inspire, educate, motivate. There's a lot of eights there. But hopefully it's a positive experience that you can see what somebody else who I think had it tougher than we have it. You can learn to appreciate your life and the values that you should hold dear. Yeah, my book is out there on Amazon and other places where books are sold. So get Hands of Gold in your golden hands and pass it along to more golden hands. And just love each other, because that's where it's at. Love each other, survive your obstacles, live the best life you can. Reach out to me if you read the book. Tell me what you learned, what inspired you. Hopefully there's relevance to your own life in some forms, that these characters, and I should also say it's fiction. So I made up a lot, and it's loosely based on my grandfather's life and his struggles and his near-death experiences and adventures. But get it, pass it along, inspire others, and reach out to me if you want to tell me how it's going. Write reviews. I love hearing from readers. It's the highlight of everything that I do. If I just put things out there and they sit on a shelf or they're online someplace and they don't touch people, then I don't know what I'm really doing. I don't know that I'm fulfilling my destiny.
Wonderful. So I also would like to thank all listeners and viewers and ask you to review and subscribe to the podcast and share about it so that more people find out about it. And if you want to be on the podcast, please reach out to me, or if you know someone who would be a good fit, you might let them know or connect us so that this can grow. And I'm celebrating. It's been over 5 years of podcasting. Just on the 5th of December, I just passed that. So I'm really, really proud and happy. And I'm very thankful that this has been happening. So blessings to you all, and till next time.